In New York City, Madame Alain also spoke of the manuscripts of her brother Jean and the 4 editions of his organ music.
We have in the family, and we still have them, many manuscripts, and some of them indicating many differences in the composition. It's why you find several editions that seem sometimes contradictory. First of all, when he was still alive in 1938, he paid a visit to the printer Alphonse Leduc, and the 3 pieces were published in 1939, the variations on a theme by Clément Jeannequin, the Jardin Suspendu, and the litanies. These were the only pieces published by Leduc in that time. Then, when he left for the war, he had to go. And he left his wife a pile of manuscripts, very carefully copied, saying, these are the most important works I have written, so if I disappear, use those manuscripts. And the first edition was worked by my father, Albert Alain, after Jean's death, thanks to several friends of Jean Alain who helped us very much, especially finding paper to print it during the war, because it was impossible to find any paper, to find any ink. It was a miracle if that edition was worked out. When I listened to people playing out of that first edition, there were many things I was shocked about. I thought, that doesn't correspond to my memories. There should be something different there. I didn't dare to change. I was giving advices to my students, but that was the problem. Anyhow, we discovered, my father, my brother, Olivier, my second brother, and myself, that first edition, of course, was as faithful as possible to the copies by Jean Alain, but that Jean Alain has forgotten many accidentals, many ties, that has written some notes that were not right. There were still mistakes, and the composer not being there to revise the works. The mistakes came from that edition. We tried, my brother Olivier and myself, to correct a few of those mistakes. There was a new edition, that first edition is from 1943. In 1952, I was still pretty young, but my brother Olivier was 8 years older than I. He was also a very fine musician, has played all these works with his brother, and we corrected a certain number of accidentals, and we also indicated a few changes of tempo, because Jean Alain didn't care about writing acoustic markings. I was told by a friend of his, Pierre Second, the organist of the Cathedral of Geneva, who was a schoolmate at the class of Marcel Dupré, and with the dedicatory of the Jeannequin variations, that he said to Jean, "But Jean, why don't you write what you want here? There is no indication for rallentando, accelerando." And Jean said, "Oh, I don't care. If people are musical, they will find it." That was the problem with him. Well, that was for the second edition, that was 52, only for volume 1 and 2, no, 2 and 3, sorry. Then, teaching and teaching again, I wrote an article of advices for playing Jean Alain's music, always according to my memories. And that was published at first by the Italian review Lorgano, care of my friend Tagliarini, and translated and published in the American Organist in the late 50s, the early 60s. Excuse me. This gave me the idea of a practical edition in order that people could discover that Jean Alain was not only the author of the litanies, But certain pieces which were never played, like the intermezzo, because the left hand was written in C clef, or some other pieces like the fantasies, have not yet been discovered. So we were in the 60s. The organs were not at all what they have been during Jean Alain's life. And unfortunately, I have given some indications, between brackets, for the registration that were according to the organs of that time. But this was not very well received. Also, I don't regret it, because from that time on, many young people have begun playing the whole Jean Alain work, and not only a few pieces. But in that time, we had we were not used to writing note critique, and I should have written critical notes, because I had sources for what I have written in that third edition. That one was called the edition of 1973, I think, 71. Then Madeleine, Jean Alain's wife, died, and I was in charge of looking into the pieces of music that had remained in her house. And I was just amazed discovering the first sketches of Alain pieces. So this is the reason for this. I couldn't release a new edition without telling the people, no, I have many sources. For some papers, I have until 7 sources. So this is the list of the sources, and it's up to you to choose. It's why that big book, 150 pages, is on all the differences that you can find in all the manuscripts. This organ is now in perfect condition, and my last records, my last CDs, are made on the organs that Jean has played. The organ at Besançon, I was talking a few moments ago, and this one, the organ at La Madeleine in Paris, a big cavaillé ball with a little bit of neoclassic in it, but not too much. The organ at the Abbey of Valois, where he has played some pieces, and my father's organ. So I have tried to find the historic organs for Jean Alain's music, and also to find the truth about his music. So I shall continue a little later.
While teaching in Kansas, Madame Alain responded to the question, what do you want students to learn from your masterclass?
To be aware of just that necessity of following the counterpoint in all the voices, and knowing what to do with your fingers. I told you, not only with the soprano, but also with the bass and with the inner voices in that organ music, because the organ is very demanding. As long as you hold the note, it speaks. So you must be very much aware of the duration of notes in all the voices. That makes the music clean. And afterward, that gives you that sense of working on durations of notes. You are also working of the sense of articulation and the sense of legato playing or detached, more or less detached playing. And you find many nuances in the way to connect one note to the next one. Many, many different nuances. There are many things in between the staccato and the legato. And that is what is interesting. And I try to have my young students being aware of that. So let's play the 4-dog on the Récit with the 16-foot. Sometimes you don't need the gamba, you know, it's really too romantic. The scene is now coming in the bass. we go on. Do you really believe that this theme should be played so legato? It's singing, I know, but it's moving by arpeggios. And if it is a little portato, and you can have the same in the left hand. It gives it more intensity. So the unequal values were very good. Listen, they are slightly unequal on the 8th note. So let's play it again from the beginning and just think of just portato. Singing, you would have to breathe. It's the same phrase, another phrase, again from the beginning. Connected, it's something different. Bam, bam. Yeah, think of other instruments. Yeah, it will be flat. Take your time. Don't try to be absolutely on the beat there. You have plenty of notes. Take your time, take it easy. Yes, just a little before. So think of the articulation of the theme. And played with a G sharp. I have heard too many people playing a G natural. We are already in modern notation. Transfer the note. Heavy. Think of the theme in the left hand. And of course you transfer the ornament at the beginning of the theme when it comes to the left hand. The unequalization comes naturally. The time that is taken by the trill indicates how to play it. That's permitted. Trill from D. Don't try to do something strange there. It's just simple with the two ornaments together. So that was to show you all the possibilities that are in those pieces. Of course, that one is one of the most difficult in the French literature because it's a sheer improvisation. He is always It's like Jean Alain dreaming of something new, something different. And when we look at the Tiercentaille by Couperin, they are much more built than this one. But this one is also written by a genius, and you find some inventions that you don't find anywhere else. And an art of the ornamentation that is really something very unusual. So thank you for playing so well. When you play